Japan and Korea meet yet again for the right to face Cuba in the final on Monday. We'll have it for you. Stay tuned. Uehara up against So. John Miller, Joe Morgan. Now let's go back to wrestling. Team Korea, the only unbeaten team in the World Baseball Classic. 2 of their 6 wins have been against Team Japan. We see the Team Japan dugout, and Japan trying to avoid the humiliation of losing 3 times in the tournament to their bitter arch rivals. Japan and Korea getting ready to play ball. This is what it's been. But what does it mean? It means baseball without boundaries, around nations or emotions. It means flags before pennants, pride before pay, unity, opportunity on an international stage. It means effort and drama and the pure joy of play. If you have a problem with perfection, this team is not for you. With pinpoint pitching and refined defense, Korea's style is fundamentally sound. But add the offense of Sung-Yup Lee and its sweet music. Now, Korea faces Japan for the 3rd time, with the first 2 intense, pressure-packed one-run affairs. Thanks to Mexico's heroics against Team USA, Ichiro and his teammates get another crack at their rivals, with revenge on their minds and a trip to the final on the line. Korea against Japan, the semifinals in San Diego. To the fans, to the players, to baseball. What does it mean? It means the world. It's the World Baseball Classic from Petco Park, San Diego, presented by Taco Bell. And it's game 2 of this semifinal doubleheader. Cuba with the major upset, beating the mighty Dominican Republic to get to the final. And now we watch Japan versus Korea for the right to play Cuba for the first championship of the WBC. Hello, everyone. I'm John Miller with Joe Morgan. And here we go again. We've got the big crowd gathering. We've had some rain here. It's coolish. It is not hospitable out here, but perhaps conditions that they're a little more used to in both Japan and Korea. Anyway, they're ready to play ball, and one thing is certain: they don't like each other. And this Korean ball club, they've done everything well in this tournament. They've been the big surprise in the tournament. They've gone 6-0, led by their slugger, who also plays in Japan in the regular baseball season, Sung-Yup Lee, and he has been something else in this tournament, Joe.
Well, John, this team, the Korean team, has been called the dream team because no one gave them a chance. And the guy that's living the biggest dream is Sung-Yup Lee, because he has outslugged all the great sluggers in Major League Baseball. He has hit 5 home runs, and no one else has hit that many. Take a look at his swing. His swing reminds me a little bit of Ichiro in that he uses his upper body more than anything else. He uses his hands. He's an Ichiro with a lot of power. And I mean, this guy has been the catalyst for most of their victories. So it's going to be up to the Japanese team to be able to stop Sung-Yup Lee if they're going to win this ball game.
All right, so the Team Japan, the premier team in Asia for a long, long time, now they're being tested by Korea. Japan led by the immortal, the revered Sadaharu Oh, the greatest home run hitter, the most prolific home run hitter in the history of baseball in any country. But now they face the really ultimate humiliation of losing to their arch rivals 3 times. They were shocked when they got beaten by Korea in Japan, in Tokyo earlier, and then they got beaten the other night. They thought they'd been eliminated when they lost that ball game Wednesday, but they have risen from the ashes, Joe. Ichiro and company with another shot at him.
Well, I find it interesting, John, in that they lost both games by 1 run. They've revamped their entire lineup. They've moved Ichiro from the leadoff spot to the 3rd spot. So they're saying Ichiro is going to have to be the guy to lead them. He's going to have to be the guy that drives in some runs and makes up that 1-run deficit that they've had. And guess what? Ichiro is a very good RBI man. He always is one of the best hitters in Major League Baseball with runners in scoring position. So I expect him to do his job, but he's been doing his job. He has hit in all of the games in the Classic, but they're leaning on him a little bit more tonight.
All right, so here we go. A little bit of a different wrinkle for Sadaharu Oh's Japan lineup. They've got the tried and true Koji Uehara on the mound. and he'll be up against Jay So, who's been excellent in this tournament and with big league experience last year with the Mets, this year upcoming with the Los Angeles Dodgers. So ready to take them on to take on Team Japan. This ball game about to begin. Tonight's telecast is available on ESPN HD, presented by Dish Network. And the crowd gathering, it's wet, it's cool, not that comfortable out here tonight at Petco Park in San Diego, but they are ready to play ball nonetheless. And the Koreans have taken the field. So let's take a look at the Team Japan batting order presented by MLB 06, the show. It'll be Norichika Aoki in center field. Then Tsuyoshi Nishioka at second base. Ichiro is in right field hitting third. Nobuhiko Matsunaka, the designated hitter. Hitoshi Tamura in left field. Toshioki Imai at third base. Michihiro Ogasawara at first base. Tomoya Satozaki, the catcher, and Muninori Kawasaki, the shortstop, batting ninth. All up against Jay So. Had a very fine half year with the Mets last year. Now he's with the Dodgers, Joe.
Well, the Dodgers got a great bargain here, I think. This guy's really coming into his own. He pitched great last year. He has a good sinking fastball, a slider, and a changeup. And he has definitely got major league stuff.
All right, so here we go. And again, there's the manager, In-shik Kim of the Korean Ball Club. And we've got the chanting and the noisemakers going already. Right back to So. Aoki is retired. With us here tonight is Peter Gammons down by the Korean dugout. Peter.
Well, John, before the game, Sadahara said that the single most surprising thing about this series, about the Korean team, is their pitching, and that Jay So has been their best pitcher. I mean, he's pitched 9 innings at 2 starts, 1 run. Of course, he won the game in Anaheim against Japan. But then, last year, 8-2 with a 259 earned run average after he came back from Norfolk up to the Mets. But as we know, this is the biggest game he's ever pitched in his career.
Indeed. So he's done extremely well in this tournament. So starting against Chinese Taipei in Tokyo, did well. Then against Mexico in Anaheim last Sunday, did extremely well. Bluffing the bunt, taking a strike is Nishioka. Nishioka, speedy second baseman for the Chiba Lotte Marines this year. Bobby Valentine's club, he hit 268. They won the whole thing. He had 41 steals. That's a fastball, strike 2 call. Ichiro is on deck. The leadoff hitter, whom we only saw for the 1 pitch, Aoki, hit 344 as a rookie last year with 202 hits. Oh, man. So long. A foul tip held by the catcher, Cho. That's all for Nishioka. That'll bring up Ichiro. And let's bring our other colleague now, Jose Mota, down near the Japanese dugout.
Hey, John, one would think that after losing 2 games to Korea, the Japanese will talk about adjustments, but Ichiro Suzuki, Japanese star, told me tonight is not about adjustments. It's not even about skills. It's about heart. John, take it.
All right. And he is a sort of a notorious figure to the Korean fans because of a statement that he made just before the tournament began in Tokyo 2.5 weeks ago. They started there earlier than everywhere else because of the great travel distance. Ichiro has a base hit to right field.
And he has hit in every game so far in this classic.
Ichiro with his 8th hit in 25 at-bats, now hitting .320 for the tournament.
Well, the one thing about Ichiro is watch he uses his hands so well. See, that's a hand swing. He just kind of rolls them over and pulls the ball into the outfield. Nice swing. That's the way he hits.
He pulled the ball. It looked to be several inches off the outside corner, too.
Well, he does everything with his hands. I think that's the key. That's why he's always so much in balance, even though he falls off the pitches sometimes.
Well, Ichiro stole 33 bases for the Seattle Mariners last year. Here's Matsunaka. Ichiro running on the first pitch. The throw down by Cho. Safe!
And I think that's Ichiro's way of trying to take this team on his back and say, let's go win this ball game. They've lost each game by 1 run. Well, if I can make up 1 run in the first inning, that'll put us in a better position. Not a great jump. But as you can see, the throw is high, and he slides in safely.
Third steal of the tournament for Ichiro. A little dribbler by Matsunaka, rolls foul along that first base line. So the pitcher, the catcher, In-Sung Cho, both giving chase on that one, but it kicked off foul. And the count is 0-2 now to Matsunaka. And Team Japan needs a clutch hit right here with 2 down. Ichiro got the base hit and stole his way into scoring position, but getting a hit in these clutch situations has not been easy against Team Japan. It has held its opponents in this entire tournament to a 116 batting average, 116 batting average with runners in scoring position. Only 5 hits in 43 at-bats allowed in these kind of situations by the Korean pitchers, which is rather extraordinary. Little equipment repair affected there by the catcher Cho. 0-2 to Matsunaka. You've already seen So throw a devastating splitter earlier. That one is very high. And the count now 1-2. He went with the fastball there. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Matsunaka for the Hawks hit 46 home runs last year in Japan. 46 homers, 121 batted in. And he's hitting .409 in the World Baseball Classic with the Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks. Show out to speak to Jay So. Jay So in his 2 starts in this tournament worked a total of 9 innings, allowing only 1 run and 4 hits against Chinese Taipei and Mexico. So he has been outstanding. And he was as good as the Mets had in the rotation when they brought him back from the minor leagues the last couple of months of last year. Matsunaka has not struck out in 22 plate appearances in this tournament. Slaps it to third, and there's that Korean defense. The play made by Byung Yoo Lee, and the inning is over. Ichiro stranded again. No hit there with a runner in scoring position. No score. Team Korea is coming up. No score. Last of the first inning coming up now. Japan has gone down, and now Korea coming up. And let's take a look at the Korean batting order presented by MLB 06, the show. It'll be Byung Yoo Lee in left field, then Jung Bum Lee in center field. Sung Yap Lee, the big home run slugger, 5 home runs in the tournament, first base. Hee-Sop Choi, now with the Dodgers, several years in the major leagues, a designated hitter. Jin Young Lee in right field. Bum Ho Lee in at third base, hitting 6th. Jin Man Park at shortstop. In Sung Cho, the catcher, and Min Jae Kim is at second base, batting 9th. And there is Koji Uehara of the Yomiuri Tokyo Giants, one of the premier pitchers in Japan, although he had a losing record this past season. And he's set to go against Byung Yoo Lee, leading it off for Korea. And bluffing the butt, taking too high for ball 1. Lee hitting 182 in the tournament. It's not that the Korean team has hit exceedingly well. They're averaging just a little over 4 runs a game, hitting 262, all modest figures. It just seems like their pitching has been so good. Their defense has been superb. They're always in tight games, and then they get that clutch hit when they need it.
Well, when you play good defense, you pitch well, especially with runners in scoring position, and you're always in the ball game, and you're just 1 hit away from winning that ball game. They've been able to win 6 consecutive ball games. And I think, in effect, John, I think that works against them a little bit here. We haven't seen other teams be able to beat the former other teams 2 times or 3 times in a row. Now, we saw Dominican beat Cuba last week. This week, they couldn't beat them again. Now, we've seen Korea beat Japan twice. So, are they going to be able to do it the 3rd time? Percentages say no.
1 ball, 2 strikes. And a high fly ball into shallow left field. There is Tamura, and that is out number 1. Korea, when the tournament opened in Tokyo, March 3rd, beat Chinese Taipei in a very tight ball game. Sort of set the tone for the rest of the tournament. They clobbered China, and then they upset Japan. That was the only game in which they actually were trailing in this entire tournament. They were trailing the first 7 innings of the game. Sung Yap Lee hit a 2-run homer in the 8th. when they were down 2-1 to put them ahead 3-2, and that was the final score. And a shocking win for them at the Tokyo Dome. 0-1 the count now to Jung Bum Lee, the center fielder.
John, I think one of the things that you'll notice for the fans to watch in this game, they will see a different hitting style in this ball game than we saw in the first ball game. These guys are used to hitting up more change-ups and off-speed pitches, and you can actually see them moving a little quicker, trying to hold their set and keep their hands back.
That is foul on the third base side. 1 ball, 2 strikes now to Jung Bum Lee, the center fielder. Jung Bum Lee is hitting .429 in the tournament with 3 runs batted in. No score in the game. Last of the first. 1 out, nobody on. Uehara. Right center field. That's the big part of the yard, and that's into the gap, and Ichiro, along with Aoki, will have to chase it. Jung Bum Lee will stop at second base, even though the throw got past the relay man. A double for Lee, who had the big hit to knock in the winning runs in Wednesday's 2-1 victory.
Well, we all know that Ichiro's a Gold Glover, but that was the big part of the ballpark, and he couldn't handle it. See how he stays back, and it's a fastball, so he's a little late on it, but he goes to right center. They're used to keeping their weight back, and they do a good job of that, and he finds the gap, and Aoki can't run it down, and neither can Ichiro, so by the time the ball gets back in, even though it gets away, Lee is at second base with a double.
And we never saw one of those in game 1 today between the powerful Dominican Republic and Cuba. All singles in that first game. So here is the slugger, Sung-Yap Lee, who last year played for Bobby Valentine's Japan champions, the Chiba Lotte Marines, had 30 home runs there. This year with the Yomiuri Giants upcoming, he once hit 56 home runs in a season in the Korean Professional League, an 8-team league. 1 ball, 1 strike. And he started hitting home runs early on in this tournament. He's got 5 home runs for the tournament. 10 batted in, and he's hitting .400. That's a fastball, a strike from Uehara. 1 ball, 2 strikes. In the World Baseball Classic, Lee with more home runs than anybody. Adrian Beltre of the Dominican hit 4. Ken Griffey Jr. 3. Derek Lee 3. David Ortiz hit 3. Lee more than all of them. 1 and 2. And back to the screen.
And again, they have a different approach to hitting. You can see them just waiting just a little longer and trying to recognize the pitch. And if they get fooled, they will slap the ball the other way. Whereas a lot of hitters we see today, once they're fooled, there's nothing they can do with it. They try to pull it.
Uehara for the runner at second, 1 out. Lunged at by Sung-Yap Lee, and that's into the second deck off to the left, out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
But he was fooled, but he tried to go the other way with the pitch rather than still try to pull it.
Another left-handed hitter with lots of power is on deck. Hee-Sop Choi has had several years in the major leagues, currently with the Dodgers. Sung-Yap Lee, there's Hee-Sop Choi on deck. Sung-Yap Lee could have been a Dodger. Little dribbler up the first base side, foul. Well, the battle continues here. Sung-Yap Lee is 29 years old. Hit .260 last year. Had 30 homers and only 408 at bats. But reports were that at times he and Bobby Valentine were at odds. And he wanted to be the cleanup hitter all the time, whether he was hitting or not. Anyway, now they can be at odds in different dugouts. Sung-Yap Lee will be with the Tokyo Giants. That is slapped foul down the left field line. Still 1 and 2 to Sung-Yap Lee. It's a Korean team. I learned yesterday, Joe, actually got put together and has been together as a unit since January the 1st. So they got to know each other, and they have put a premium on fundamentals and good defense. They have 17 gold gloves in the Korean leagues on this roster. And back out of play again.
Well, he's doing a great job of fighting these pitches off. Change-ups away, fastballs in. But again, it's their approach, his approach to hitting is what you like. Once you get 2 strikes, you got a runner in scoring position. You're trying to get a single. You're not trying to drive the ball out of the ballpark at this point.
Well, he's a power hitter, but in 20 at-bats in the tournament, only 2 strikeouts. Runner at second. He struck him out.
Good pitch. Well, he couldn't get him on strike, so he went up and out of the strike zone with a fastball. And Sung-Yuk Lee took a swing at it. You can see the high fastball up and out of the strike zone, and he chases it. Not even close, and he's very upset with himself because he was fighting off some good pitches before, but you see he's really late on that fastball because he was waiting on something off speed. There's Sadaharu saying he can't get up there on that one.
I wouldn't mind seeing him just grab a bat and take at least 1 at bat.
I don't think he could have gotten up there on top of that one.
He would have taken it. Here's Hee-Seop Choi. 2 down, runner at second. And that off-speed pitch over the outside for a called strike at his own 1. Hee-Seop Choi hit the back-breaking home run against Team USA this past Monday night as a pinch hitter. They had walked Sung-Yuk Lee, whom we just saw, because he'd been so hot. Why wouldn't you walk him? Right-handed hitter was coming up, and Hee-Seop Choi came off the bench and launched a 3-run pinch hit homer down the right field line, and a 3-1 game was suddenly 6-1. That's back out of play.
You know what I like watching Uehara? I mean, he is using his fastball, and a lot of these pitchers have been throwing off-speed pitches in situations where it's a fastball count. But watching him, he will use his fastball, and he looks like he's going to throw it upstairs, and if they're going to swing at it, they're not going to be able to handle it.
Well, and he is a strike-throwing machine, as are almost all of the Team Japan pitchers. They'd walked only 10 hitters in this entire tournament in previous 6 games. That's a ball inside. In his 2 other outings, Uehara had thrown a first-pitch strike to 77% of all the batters he had faced. And in this game now, he's thrown 20 pitches, 16 of them strikes. Uehara, who became a good friend of Roger Clemens when Clemens came in. That one in the dirt and through the legs of the catcher Satozaki, and over to third base goes Jumbum Lee. That one bounced in front of the catcher, although I thought he should have stopped it. So runner at third now with 2 down. There's Sadaharu O, the great Osan.
And most of the people in his part of the world think that he can walk on water because he was just a fabulous hitter. And he wasn't just a slugger, and he talked about how he made himself into a home run hitter. Because he had a much different approach to hitting than most hitters that you'll see.
Up the first base side. That is handled by Ogasawara, and he takes the play unassisted to retire Hee-Seop Choi. No score after 1 inning. Tamura coming up. Now let's go to John Anderson with a Sports Center 30 at 30 update. Japan coming up in the 2nd inning against the Korean team. The undefeated Koreans win a 0-0 tie here today. The 5th place hitter Hitoshi Tamura leads off, followed by Imai, and then Ogasawara. Tamura against Jae-So into the hole at short. This is going to be a long throw. Here it comes. Wow, nice play by Jinman Park.
Well, the interesting part there is he got himself set before the ball got there. Jinman Park was ready. Watch this. I mean, he gets himself set. The ball's hitting the hole. He's planning him shading that way a little bit. But Jinman Park, it gets a good throw, gets rid of it very quickly. Doesn't show a strong arm, but he got rid of the ball very quickly.
So Tamura retired. Tamura had 31 home runs last year for the Bay Stars in Yokohama. Korea has not made an error in any game in this tournament. This is their 7th game. That's a strike to Toshioki Imai, who is getting his first start in the tournament. Iwamura injured his hamstring the other night in the Wednesday game against Korea. In fact, that was a critical play where he got thrown out at the plate, and in a game that ended up 2-1, and he kind of pulled up lame about halfway to the plate in that one. So Imai is getting the start in this one tonight from the Chibalote Marines. Again, another guy played for Bobby Valentine's champions. .310 average, 8 home runs last year. Cutting over from third base is Lee, and that is out number 2.
And you know what you can see is interesting. Both of these teams, when they get 2 strikes on them, they're trying to put the ball in play. Although the Koreans will strike out a lot more than the Japanese players. But if you watch them, they're trying to put the ball in play. I mean, he threw the bat at the ball. He doesn't take a big, healthy swing with 2 strikes. And we saw that from Sung-Yup Lee. He was trying to put the ball in play. And you see him just kind of throw the bat at the ball. He does not want to strike out. They want somebody to have to make a play. I mean, he stays back pretty well, but that was a tough pitch. And he just threw the bat at the ball.
I mean, he did well to make contact.
Yeah, but that's the point. They're trying to make contact after 2 strikes.
Here is Michihiro Ogasawara, and that's a foul off the left field line. Ogasawara for the Nippon Ham Fighters hit .282 last year, 37 homers, 92 runs batted in.
And his nickname is Guts. They don't even use his first name. They just call him Guts Ogasawara.
0-1 to Guts, and that's too low. 1 ball and 1 strike. So that's not going to be like Ichiro, where they just call him by the first name.
No, they're going to use.
Okay.
Well, technically, that's what he told me. He said to just call him Guts. If they say, "Who did you have dinner last night with?" they say Guts.
It works for me.
Yeah.
If I had the choice between Guts or Ogasawara, I'm going with Guts.
Yeah.
2 down, nobody on, no scores. Second inning, 1 ball, 1 strike. Rakes one. That one into the right field corner, and a leaping catch by Jin Young Lee. The inning is over. 3 up and 3 down. No score. Korea. Jin Young Lee will be coming up. Here we go now. Korea comes up in a 0-0 game against the Japan right-hander Koji Uehara. Uehara, who's had 2 other outings in this tournament, has pitched exceedingly well. There's a called strike to Jin Young Lee, who just made that catch to end the first half of the inning. He'll be followed by Byung Yoo Lee and then Jinman Park. And that's a ball down and in from Uehara. This is the catch we were talking about, and a ball hit by Ogasawara.
Well, he thought he was running toward the corner. There's a little angle out there that he had to negotiate and make sure he didn't get caught up in it, so he leaped before he got there and he made the catch. There's a little angle right here, and it kind of comes in toward the field.
Yeah, it's weird down there in that right field corner. There
it is. You can see it right here. Look at that angle.
So it's rather short if you hit it right to the foul pole, but it angles out quickly from there, and he fooled him with that one. Maybe a splitter or a straight change. The count now 2-2. Jin Young Lee leading it off here for Team Korea. There's the second baseman, and Nishioka throws out Lee. There is 1 away.
Very quick feet there shown by Nishioka. Moved over quickly, got in front of the ball.
Now Byung Yoo Lee will come up as we get the on the move look here at beautiful Petco Park. I think the rain has stopped. We had some rain just before game time, and it is 0-1 to Byung Yoo Lee. Lee played for the Hanwha Eagles in Korea, hit .273, 26 homers, 68 batted in last year. That's a foul out of play off to the right, and quickly it is 0-2. And again, we're seeing strikes being thrown by both pitchers, but especially Uehara. Uehara in his first 2 starts in the tournament had pitched 10 innings without walking anybody. Now that's at 11 and a third innings.
Well, if you can continually get ahead of the hitters, we've all seen it on a consistent basis. You can get them to chase pitches out of the strike zone like that.
He got that slider, a little bit off the corner, and he got the ground ball right to the second baseman. 2 down as Nishioka makes the play again. 2 down, and here is Jinman Park, the shortstop, who made such a fine play on the ground ball hit by Tamura in the first half of this inning. Park, the Korean shortstop, with the Samsung Lions, and they say the Samsung Lions are probably the #1 team in Korea. They win more championships than than anybody else. They're in the city of Daegu. And Jinmon Park last year had 7 homers, 44 RBIs, 249 average. So he was a glove man, Joe. They got the glove man in there at shortstop. This is old-time baseball here. This is not a Miguel Tejada, Alex Rodriguez kind of a shortstop. This is a guy. This is more the Ozzie Smith kind of a shortstop. Give me some D.
I think Ozzie would agree with you on the D, but Ozzie said he could hit too.
Well,
I'm just telling you what he told me. I'm not.
Yeah. Well, he was right.
Oh,
but not when he played in San Diego. Not when he played here.
Not in this city, right?
3 balls and a strike to Jinmon Park. In Sung Cho, the catcher, would be next. 2 down, nobody on. No score in the game.
Man.
Right there in the corner at the knees. 3-2. Man.
A little different there. You can see Uehara did not even give in on a 3-1 pitch. He hit the outside corner knee high.
And this one, he blows right by him. His second strikeout. 3 up and 3 down. On to the 3rd inning. Satozaki coming up for Japan. 0-0. Back in San Diego, the World Baseball Classic earlier today. Cuba upset the Dominican Republic. Cuba is in the final. Now Japan and Korea. No score. We go to the 3rd inning. I'm John Miller along with Joe Morgan. We're joined by our colleagues Peter Gammons down by the Korean dugout and Jose Mota down by Japan's dugout, and by you. Thanks for tuning in. And how much longer can Korea keep this thing going? They've won 6 in a row, including 2 against Japan. And the slider from Jae-So in there for a strike to Tomoya Satozaki. Satozaki hitting 8th in the order for Sadaharu O's Team Japan. Kawasaki, the shortstop, on deck. Back to the screen, and it is 0-2.
And this is the one thing that we're seeing this pattern develop from both pitchers, is getting the hitters behind 0-2 early in the count. I mean, the first 2 pitches for strikes, then it gives them a lot of room for margin for error if they want to try to get them to chase pitches.
0-2 the count. And back over the screen. Still 0-2. Satozaki, who played for Bobby Valentine's Chibolote Marines. 303 average, 10 homers last year. No score, top of the 3rd. So we'll try it again. That one is hit hard, but to the shortstop Park. Jinmon Park throws him out. He looks like the wrong guy to hit it to. 1 down. In game 2 on Wednesday in Anaheim. That was the base hit, and the runner Iwamura came up lame halfway home and got thrown out on a great throw. And then Jung-Bom Lee got the 2-run single, and then finally got the final strikeout. Ichiro unhappy. Jae-So planted the Korean flag on the mound there, much to the chagrin and apparent irritation of the Japanese team. Little knowing, I mean, Japan, according to Sadaharu, they felt they were out of it. But they have risen from the ashes. He was effusive with his thanks to the outstanding strong game played by Team Mexico and in beating Team USA Thursday. And when they won that ball game to move into the finals, or into the semifinals, the government waived the 2-year mandatory military service requirement. 11 players eligible for that. There's a ball down the right field line into the corner. That's going to bounce up against that angled wall. Kawasaki heading for second. A throw in by Jin Young Lee, and a double for Kawasaki.
Well, let's take a look at this pitch. It's supposed to be down and in. He doesn't quite get it down, and it moves over the plate a little bit. And the one thing I've mentioned is that they handle the ball inside well because they use their hands. And you can see that very similar to Ichiro, the type of swing that they have, and that's using the upper body and just using their hands to roll over on the ball inside.
So Kawasaki, who's got speed, he stole 21 bases last year at second, and now here's the leadoff man, Aoki. Aoki, who had 202 hits last year. In his rookie season, he was only the 2nd player in Japan League history. They've got the Central League and the Pacific League. The only other player ever to have had a 200-hit season in Japanese baseball was Ichiro. And Aoki in his rookie season had 202 last year. He won the Rookie of the Year award, hit .344 for the Yakult Swallows.
And the interesting thing is that Ichiro only did it once, and he did it in his first full year in the league as well.
So Aoki, who hit one back to the pitcher's first time, and that one misses from Jay-So down and away. 3-0 with Nishioka on deck. Now this guy, Aoki, no pretense of power, only 3 home runs last year in 588 at bats. He is now 2 for 3 in this tournament, so he has been mostly sitting. This is his first start. Shows butt, takes low. Look at that, a 4-pitch walk to Aoki from So. So 2 men on, 1 man out, and a threat here. And the batter will be Nishioka, the second baseman. Well, as they talk it over at the mound, let's go down near the Korean dugout. Our colleague, here's Peter Gammons.
Well, John, you were talking about being able to get out of the military service obligation. It's really good for some of the players that have been here in America, like Sonny Kim and Hee-Sop Choi, who haven't gone back to their native country for a few years because they didn't want to have to go into the military. But my favorite is Sung Hoon Young. He wasn't even on the team when the series started. But when regular third baseman Dong Kim got hurt, Young was added to the team. Well, he was supposed to be starting his military service this week. Korea won the second round, and he's out of his military obligation.
Wow.
It's great to be a utility infielder.
Timing is everything in life. All right, so they've had the discussion at the mound, 2 men on, and here is Nishioka, one of the top hitters for Team Japan. Dong Yol-sun, the pitching coach for the Koreans, visited at the mound there with Jay-So. Now Nishioka stands in. He struck out his first time. 2 men on, 1 man out. The pickoff to second. Safely back is Kawasaki.
And John, some of the players were already exempt, like Chan Ho Pak. He was already exempt because they had won, an international tournament and they'd won the gold medal. So some of the guys were already excused from military service.
That's a strike now to Nishioka. They have some kind of a formula, and for people who do great things in other fields, athletics or the arts, music, that brings special recognition favorably to the country, then they can have their military obligation removed. In the past, the government has exempted Olympic medalists and Asian Games gold medalists from military obligations. 2 men on, 1 man out, no score in the game. This is where Korea has not been allowing anybody to get a hit. Team USA, name a team, nobody's been able to get hits in spots like this. Runners in scoring position.
But this is the first time we've seen him really struggle. He walked Aoki, and now he is struggling to throw strikes to Nishioka.
Kawasaki hit the double, and he's hardly been in the strike zone since. That's a liner to third. Back over to first. It's a double play. And the inning is over. Wow. With Ichiro on deck, a line shot. And just like that, So is out of a jam. World Baseball Classic. The World Baseball Classic. We are in San Diego. No score as we go to the last half of the third inning. And from high above Petco Park, these views courtesy of the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company and its fleet of airships, reminding you to travel with peace of mind on Goodyear Forterra tires, featuring silent armor technology. I'm John Miller with Joe Morgan. Peter Gammons and Jose Mota are here with us as well. Earlier today, Cuba defeated the Dominican Republic 3-1 back of Yadiel Martí and Pedro Luis Lasso. Now Korea trying to extend its perfection. The only unbeaten team in the tournament. The batter, the 8th place hitter, In Sung Cho, the Korean catcher, followed by Min Jae Kim, and then the leadoff man, Byung Yoo Lee. MJ Kim on deck. No score in the game. Uehara for Japan, the pitcher, and a fastball, strike 3 call.
Well, let's take a look at what has become a staple of the Korean team. I mean, they make all the plays. Now watch the runners. Oh, he breaks at first. Now he comes to first base, and that makes it an easier play for the third baseman, because if he has to go to second, watch, you'll see he has to hit this guy on the move, and he didn't want to do that, and it's an easier throw to a stationary target at first base.
Ichiro in right field, and Min Jae Kim is retired on 1 pitch, out number 2.
Now watch the runners and watch the defensive players. What you'll see here is when he comes up, he catches it, and it's easier to go to first base because he's stationary than to have to hit a moving target with the second baseman coming to cover.
Now, by the same token, Joe, what about that kind of base running?
Well, both base runners were going to be caught, but the guy at first base, it's really inexcusable for the first baseman to be able to beat him back to the bag.
So 2 down. Here's the leadoff man, Byung Yoo Lee, the left fielder. He flied out to shallow left his first time. 2 down, nobody on, and Uehara throwing strikes, as he almost always does. He got to be very good friends with Roger Clemens back in 2002 when Clemens came over with a group of all-stars from the major leagues.
And you can see there, Uehara thought he had a strikeout.
Ed Hickox, the plate umpire, thought otherwise. 1-2 the count in the dirt. 2-2.
That doesn't bode well later on. Satozaki better stay behind the plate and apologize. There's nothing worse than to show an umpire up, and both he and Uehara had started off the field.
2 down, bases empty in the 3rd inning. No score in the game. Korea has only 1 hit against Uehara. At third base, Imai. And the inning is over. That's 8 in a row retired by Uehara. Ichiro coming up when we go to the 4th. No score. Fourth inning, Ichiro coming up for Team Japan. Japan nothing, Korea nothing. Top of the 4th inning, and earlier today, Cuba defeated the Dominican Republic to move on to the finals, which will be Monday night here against the winner of this game. Let's go down to our colleague Jose Mota.
Javed, there's one thing that Cuba did today, and they did not get rattled. A big error by Yulescu Gurriel at second base on a ball hit by Adrian Beltre. After that, Dominican takes the lead, but how about this? A check swing by Spera there. Scores Gurriel himself, who got in on an error by Adrian Beltre, and then the big man, Osmani Urrutia, comes through the single up the middle, and then the guy that took over was Pedro Lazo on the mound. Nasty slider, powerful stuff, dominating stuff to finish off the powerful Team Dominican.
All right, and it was a quite a shock, I'm sure, to the Dominican fans and fans of Major League Baseball, who knew just how talented that Dominican team was. The championship game, Cuba versus the winner of this game. Here's Ichiro, who singled his first time, and Jay So throws him a strike called, and it's 0-1.
Not only did he single, John, he stole a base on the very first pitch, trying to get something started because he knows it's going to be difficult to score.
The Team Japan has scored only 3 runs in the first 2 games against South Korea. I mean, nobody's been scoring against Korea anyway. They have a 1.33 team ERA in this tournament. And that's off the outside again. 2-1 the count to Ichiro, with Matsunaka, the cleanup hitter, on deck, and then Tamura hitting 5th. No runs, 2 hits for Japan. No runs, 1 hit for Korea. 2-1 the count. Now he stops in mid-motion.
And the one thing you notice when you watch Ichiro hit is he's always kind of pulling toward first base, but he keeps his bat back, and you'll see a lot of the hitters doing that in this series.
That's a foul that will go back out of play. Well, Ichiro is the the guy who's drawing a lot of the heat from the Korean fans in this tournament because of a quote that he made before the tournament ever started about how Japan would do against South Korea. That's a foul off to the right and into the Korean dugout. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Not only will we win, but also we'll make Japanese baseball fans feel that they saw a truly great game. I want to make Korea and Chinese Taipei see that they will not be able to beat Japan in the next 30 years. Over the mound. There's the pickup. There's the throw, but too late. Ichiro. We see him do that, what, 40, 50 times a year in the major leagues, Joe.
And the reason he can do it, John, is, as I said, he's moving toward first base when he swings. He's already on the move. So it's a lot different than a lot of other left-handed hitters. Watch his body. Watch where his body ends up. He's already down the line. Look at that. He's 3 steps down the line by the time he finishes. And watch this. Watch where he is. Look at that. He's already down the line when he finishes his swing. And that's why he gets so many infield hits. And a nice play, but, I mean, when he's running, you're just not going to be able to make the play on him.
Ichiro, who stole, as Joe just mentioned, on the first pitch after he singled in the first inning. This time, Jay-So makes the throw to first as Matsunaka comes up. Matsunaka, the designated hitter for Team Japan. No score. Ichiro again back to the bag.
And I find it interesting that Sadahara put him in the 3rd slot because, as I said before, he is a good hitter with runners in scoring position. But you can also lead from the 3rd spot. You don't have to be the leadoff hitter to make things happen.
Well, I mean, Ichiro, I mean, he's a pretty good leadoff man because he makes things happen. He starts things. He makes pitchers uneasy. He rattles the defense a little bit. But he's also a great clutch hitter.
Yeah.
He's just a good hitter all the way around. 1 ball, no strikes, and Matsunaka takes the ball way outside. 2-0 the count.
Well, I think Ichiro is bothering him at first base. He knows that he took off on his first pitch the last time at first base. Now he's concentrating on holding him. And anytime you give a lot of your concentration to the runner at first base, you're losing some of that concentration that you need to have for the hitter.
3-0. Well, there we go. So just the threat of the speed perhaps causing the lapse in concentration here for Jay-So.
You know, you do not always have to steal the base to have an effect on the pitcher. If the threat can be just as important because he's going to end up throwing a lot of fastballs to the next hitter.
Ichiro goes on 3-0. That's a strike. And he steals another one.
And that was a very smart play by Ichiro. And the reason I say that is now he's concentrating strictly on throwing a strike. He was not concentrating on Ichiro. So he's not giving him any thoughts at first base. And you see Ichiro got a great jump this time. A much better jump than he had his first at bat in the first inning when he stole second base.
So Ichiro with his 4th steal in the tournament. 2 of them have come tonight. We're in the 4th inning. No score. 3-1 to Matsunaka. Nobody out. And a foul back out of play. 3-2 the count now.
Well, Matsunaka's job now, of course, is to pull the ball and advance Ichiro to 3rd at worst with a productive out. And they've got to do a better job of that, especially against the Koreans.
3-2 the count in the 4th. Tamura, a right-handed hitter, on deck. Matsunaka, who he's a power hitter, but he has not struck out in this tournament. And he got the off-speed pitch there. That's playable and caught. Byung Yoo Lee. So Matsunaka could not advance the runner.
And you can see, you know, what this game means. He was so upset with himself. You know, he smashed the head of the bat into the ground, but he had a pitch to hit on 3-1, and he could not get the job done. And he comes back and so makes a good pitch, and he pops it up on the left side.
You know, the deeper we go into this tournament, as the games get bigger and bigger, especially this last week, it seems like a common theme has been power hitters are not getting it done. They're the guys that are being beaten down by the opposing pitchers. This time Matsunaka. Earlier today it was the sluggers like Pujols and Ortiz, Beltre with the Dominican. We saw it with Team USA the other night. Here is Tamura, runner still at second. High in the air, left field, pretty deep. Still going back now under it, and that one, Byung Yoo Lee. Now, had Ichiro been at third base, this would be a 1-0 game right now on that same fly ball.
Well, we talked about the fact that this is a big ballpark. In most parks in Japan, that's a home run. But this ballpark here, the ball doesn't carry well. The air is a little heavy here tonight. And he may have hit that ball well enough to get out of most ballparks, but not here.
Yeah, and it looks like the wind's blowing in from left field, too, what makes it even worse. I mean, this is the ballpark where the Padres play, and their own hitters are leading the complaints about hitting here. That one is into center field, and there is Lee. Jumbum Lee has it. Getting the hit with a runner in scoring position, almost impossible against Korea. It's the World Baseball Classic, presented by Taco Bell. I'm John Miller with Joe Morgan, Peter Gammons, Jose Mota with us. And we're at Petco Park in San Diego, where already today, Team Cuba defeated the mighty Dominican Republic. Offensive juggernaut, 3-1. They shut them down. And they're in the final. Now can Japan turn the table on Korea, the unbeaten team from South Korea? That ball is belted down the left field line into the corner. That one is going foul, and did he catch it? Yes, he did. What a play by Tamura in the left field corner. He disappeared from our view for a moment, and the left field line umpire, Tom Hallion, belatedly gave us the call when he saw that he came up out of there with it. What a play.
Well, I thought this ball had a chance of going out because it's right down the line. And anything right down the line, obviously, that's the shortest distances in this ballpark. And he thought he had a chance, but then it started to die. As you said, the wind's blowing in, and I think it not only knocked it down, but it caused it to hook foul even more.
Whoa. Man, he's lucky he's not being carried off on a stretcher down there. One down, and here is Sung-Yap Lee, the great slugger for the Koreans. He struck out his first time. Sung-Yap Lee, we had just mentioned how he had only struck out twice in the tournament when he struck out against Uehara. Ichiro, and that is out number 2. So they hit the ball well here, but into 2 outs.
Well, I talked about the fact that he's similar in his approach to Ichiro, except he has more power. And watch where he starts his hands like Ichiro. Now he strides forward, and watch, he ends up with the high kick like Ichiro, and he uses his hands very well. He does not drive as much with his lower body, but he uses his upper body very well.
So Sung-Yap Lee retired, 2 down, and here is the cleanup hitter, Hee-Sop Choi. Fastball, a strike to the outside. Choi, 15 homers, is a part-time player for the Dodgers last year in the major leagues. He grounded out to first in the first tonight. No score, 4th inning, just off the outside. And it's a ball and a strike. When you talk about that leg kick, and Sadaharu Oh, the manager of Team Japan, had a classic stance that he called the Flamingos Dance. That's a foul out of play, which he developed because he had a hitch in his swing, couldn't hit an off-speed pitch. He worked with his batting coach, and they used 2 Japanese disciplines, the martial art, Aikido, and the art of the samurai swordsman. And doing those 2 things, he was able to adjust for that hitch in his swing. Center field, Aoki, and the ball just does not go anywhere in this yard. A pitcher's heaven to the 5th inning now. No score. Here comes Team Japan. No score in the game. Top of the 5th inning. Jae-So, the Team Korea, and that's the ball up and away. Ogasawara flied out deep to right his first time. He finished 2nd in the Pacific League in Japan last year with 37 home runs. Guts Ogasawara of the Fighters. Left center field. And there is Lee.
Let's take a look at Jae-Young So and how he has been able to get these hitters out. He's been keeping the ball down mostly, using his fastball, his sinker, using a splitter, another splitter, and a little, looks like a little slide piece. So but all the real key is all of those pitches are down.
The team ERA for the tournament now for Team Korea, 1.24. And there's ball one to Tomoya Satozaki, the catcher, the 8th place hitter for Team Japan. He grounded a short his first time. No score, 5th inning. That's a called strike on the inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Korea, commonly known here in the United States as South Korea. The Republic of Korea is the actual name of the country, and they asked to be simply called Korea in this tournament. In right center, caught by Jung-Bum Lee, and there are 2 men down. Satozaki is gone. 2 down, nobody on. In the 5th inning, the 9th place hitter now, Kawasaki, will come up. He hit a double with 1 out in the 3rd inning. Team Japan 0 for 5 in its at-bats with runners in scoring position, which we define as a runner at second or third or both. And against Korea now in this tournament, there have only been 5 hits in 48 such at-bats for the whole tournament. I mean, everything that they do is just so great in the clutch. And in the tournament such as this, that's how you win. 1 strike to count, and that's a ball in the dirt. 1 ball, 1 strike to Kawasaki. The leadoff man, Aoki, would be next. In the bullpen, there is activity. The right-hander, we've seen him a lot in the major leagues, Byung Yoo Kim, and the left-hander is there's a foul on the 3rd base side. Jun, the left-hander, by the way, out there warming up for Team Korea in the bullpen. Byung Yoo Kim, of course, been in the big leagues with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Was in the World Series with Arizona in 2001. Been with the Red Sox. Now with Colorado at second base. And there is Kim, and that is the inning. Now to the last of the 5th inning. It is still scoreless. There's Peter Gammons with a Super Bowl MVP, Hines Ward. We'll talk about that when we come back. The World Baseball Classic. We're in San Diego. Semifinal game, Japan and Korea, the powers from Asia. No score into the last of the 5th inning. The winner will move on. The loser will be all done. Peter Gammons is standing by down near the Korean dugout with Super Bowl MVP, Hines Ward. Peter?
Hines, having been born in Seoul, do you have any sort of feeling, twinge of nationalistic pride watching this?
Yes, I do. I mean, it's like hopping on a bandwagon. I mean, for the Korean team to come out here and showcase their talents amongst some of the greatest baseball players throughout the whole world, to be here in the semifinals, it's a great accomplishment for the whole Korean community.
Now, when you went in the clubhouse before the game, did any of them ask you about what it's like to be a champion?
I talked to Park, Chan-Ho Park, and he showed me around and introduced me to a lot of players. And as much as I was nervous of meeting those guys, I was a big fan of them, and I seen them playing against Japan earlier during the week. But those guys are a huge supporter of mine, so it's just great that the Korean community showed their support, and I can come out here and show my support for them.
Are you curious about what kind of reception you're going to get when you go back to Korea for the first time in April?
A little bit, but just being here and seeing all the Korean community, the way they support their athletics, is just wow. I mean, that's what's so great about this baseball tournament, is seeing all the different coaches come around and show their support for their team. And, you know, I kind of expect the same way when I head back over to Korea in April.
Hines, thank you very much.
Oh, no problem.
Back to you, John.
Hines Ward, who caught a long touchdown pass in the Super Bowl out of the University of Georgia. And I like how he put it, though, Joe. He's, you know, kind of getting on the bandwagon. And when teams win, they get your attention.
Well, a lot of people got on the Pittsburgh Steelers bandwagon down the stretch and for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, even in October, I knew they were going to win it. One down as Byung Yoo Lee has flied out to the big part of the yard. And here is Byung Yoo Lee, the third baseman, hitting sixth in the order. Grounded out to second his first time. And on that splitter, he went around with it. Strike three. The plate umpire, Ed Hickox, made the call himself without appealing to the first base umpire.
Well, you can see that he wasn't able to stop his swing. You can see Byung Yoo Lee is completely fooled by the pitch, and he can't stop. He thought he made it. He thought he did stop it, but not in time.
Jinman Park, the shortstop, struck out his first time. 2 down, nobody on in the fifth inning. The Japan bullpen is busy right now, but I mean, Uehara is rolling, and I think, Joe, this ballpark is probably giving him an extra jolt of confidence.
Well, they pitched well the entire Classic, as you said, but this ballpark fits perfectly for their style of pitching and their style of play. So they're going to be tough to beat. Well, both of these teams, because I mean, Uehara is throwing the ball very well also.
And Slatter, he bluffed the bunt, did Jinman Park, and the count 2-1. The catcher, the 8th place hitter, In-Sung Cho, would be next. Only one hit for Korea against Uehara. And the high hard one, a foul tip into the glove of catcher Satozaki. 2-2 the count.
It's interesting because I thought he was going to use the high fastball a lot more earlier in the ball game, but he has really just used it when he needed a strike. I mean, he wanted someone to go up and out of the strike zone. They will seem to chase the high fastball.
Well, they see all these splitters and sliders and everything else.
So when you see a fastball, you want to hit it.
Don't let it go by. But he uses that against him, too, doesn't he?
Well, that's what I mean. He's a smart pitcher.
Shimizu, the right-hander. Fujita, the left-hander, up in the bullpen, and that's a base hit. Only the second hit for Korea. Uehara had retired 13 in a row since Byung Yoo Lee hit a double back in the first inning.
Well, it's a fastball, but this one is down. He didn't get it up. And a good job of hitting by Jinman Park. I mean, right back through the middle. And you can see Uehara does not have time to react.
But now, with Park aboard, here is In-Sung Cho, the catcher, the 8th place hitter. 0-0, last of the 5th inning. And this game has a lot of similarities to that ballgame they played Wednesday in Anaheim. That game was scoreless all the way up until the 8th inning. Center field, but again, that's the comfort zone for a pitcher. Make him hit it out there and head to the dugout. Cho is retired. Now to the 6th inning, the top of the order. Aoki, Nishioka, and Ichiro coming up. Japan 0, Korea 0. Top of the 6th inning, the World Baseball Classic. Much at stake. This is an elimination game. And from above Petco Park in San Diego, courtesy of the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company and its fleet of airships, reminding you to travel with peace of mind on Goodyear Forterra tires featuring silent armor technology. Here's Aoki, the leadoff man for Team Japan, getting ready to bat against a new pitcher. Despite 5 shutout innings from Jae So, the manager in Shik Kim goes to his bullpen. They've got a lefty, a switch hitter, and 2 more lefties after that. So he's bringing in the left-hander here. Byung Yoo Lee, a relief pitcher of the KIA Tigers in the Korean League. 3-2 with a 3.00 ERA. Is the youngest player on the Korean team. A new third baseman is in as well, Sung Hoon Jung. And there's ball 1 to Aoki.
Well, you start to get the feeling like in the first game, Bartolo Colon was pitching and no one was going to score until he came out of the ball game. And you're getting the same feeling here from Jae So. They were not going to score off of him as well.
And there's one away. So Aoki is now 0 for 2 with a walk. That will bring up Nishioka for Sadaharu O's Team Japan. Let's go down to Jose Mota near the Japan dugout.
Speaking of Sadaharu Oh, the manager for Japan told me before the game that it was important. He felt like we need to score first. And right now in between innings, one thing I noticed that he did is, Joe, he was telling the guys, we got to get line drives, swing down. It is a big ballpark. They're getting a hold of that now.
Here's Nishioka, the switch hitter. Was struck out and lined hard into a double play.
Well, I agree with the line drive part of it because this is a big ballpark. I don't know about swinging down, but hit line drive.
And that's a ball too low from Jun, who's only 21 years old.
But I would never argue with Sadaharu Oh about hitting.
Osan. Showing bunt, taking a strike is Nishioka. He's a guy like Ichiro, can make things happen when he gets on base. He's a base stealer. And they'd like to see him get on base. He's been kept off the bases tonight. At the knees, strike two call. 2-2 the count. You know, I'm wondering, In-shik Kim, the manager for Korea, you know, the whole Japanese lineup has seen so now 2 at-bats. Maybe just wants to give him a different look and get that lefty in there in the most favorable time. And that is out number 2 as Min-jae Kim, the second baseman, throws out his opposite number. The Japan second baseman, Nishioka, 2 down.
Well, what you do is buy yourself a little more time. Plus, you have Ichiro coming up. Left-handers do not normally bother him, but maybe he figures he could keep him from stealing the base. But as you said, this is probably the perfect time to bring in a left-hander in this situation with a 0-0 ball game.
2 down, nobody on. Ichiro is 2 for 2 in the game. He has singled to right, and he has had an infield single and has stolen a base. In fact, he's stolen 2 bases. Ichiro has 2 of Team Japan's 3 hits. And he's 2 for 2. You saw that number. The rest of the team has had 1 hit in 17 at bats. Jin, the new pitcher here, Jun, that is, in his 3rd WBC appearance. He is not allowed a run or a hit. Well, we get that low strike call now. And Ichiro, as was the case with Aoki, looks a little surprised by that call.
Well, let's take a look at K-zone. And Ichiro was right.
Fastball is too high. 1-2. Ichiro, for the tournament now, is hitting .346 with his 2 hits tonight. That's just about where you figure him to be when the major league season ends. Past the mound. There's Pak behind second. In the dirt. Picked by Lee. And the inning is over. Ichiro retired for the first time. Jun gets it done. We go to the last of the 6th inning. It is still 0-0. Uehara. And that's a foul ball, just barely foul off the bat of Min-jae Kim, the 9th place hitter for Korea, who flied out to right his first time. He'll be followed by the leadoff man, Byung Yoo Lee, and then Jung-bon Lee, the 2nd place hitter, due up 3rd in the inning. No score in the game. No runs, 3 hits for Team Japan. No runs, 2 hits for Korea. 1 strike to count. Kawasaki, and that is out number 1. That was the 65th pitch thrown by Uehara, and under the World Baseball Classic rules, he's eligible to throw as many as 95. Final out today, Pedro Lasso in relief, and that was ruled a swinging strike 3 on a slider from Soriano, and Cuba, with the big upset over the mighty Dominican Republic, moves into the championship game. Eastern at 9 o'clock, 6 o'clock Pacific, Monday night from here in San Diego. Byung Yoo Lee, the leadoff man, has flied to shallow left and grounded out to 3rd. The World Baseball Classic presented by Taco Bell. We'll see you here Monday night. Japan bullpen is busy. Nice fastball right at the knees on the outside edge. 0-2. And a splitter in the dirt for the strikeout. And the catcher, Satozaki, throws him out. That is out number 2. He seems like he's getting better, Joe, as the night wears on.
Well, as I said, we may not have anyone score until they change both pitchers.
2 down.
Because they're both. Jae-Young So pitched very, very well, and Uehara is pitching just as well, if not better.
And the Dodger fans had to be happy about seeing So pitch so well. They're hoping he'll be a major addition to their staff this year. Acquired from the Mets. The new general manager there for the Dodgers, Ned Colletti. 1 strike the count to Lee. On the fists, foul back to the screen. Byung Yoo Lee had a double in the first inning and hit one deep down the left field line. It was caught in the corner on a spectacular play by Tamura, the left fielder for Japan. He probably hit the ball better than anybody in Korea against Uehara tonight. A very defensive swing there with a 2-strike count, but he fought it off. 0-2 the count. And he had the big hit that drove in the 2 runs that were the winning runs in the game in Anaheim on Wednesday when they won that ball game 2-1. Knocked in the 2 runs in the 8th inning of that game. Hugging the line at third, that was a good thing. Imai throws him out. Byung Yoo Lee is retired. It was a 9-pitch inning for Uehara. He's been superb. On to the 7th. Matsunaka, the power hitter, coming up. The winner moves into the championship game Monday night against Cuba. Here's the cleanup hitter for Japan. Matsunaka, left-handed hitter. 46 home runs last year in the Japanese leagues, and he takes a strike from Jun, the left-handed reliever, who may be facing his final hitter here with some right-handers coming up next. That's a strike call to the outside, and it is 0-2.
But so far, he's doing exactly what he's been asked to do, and that is to come in and shut down the left-handers that were at the top of the order.
And the ball outside. That was a 91-mile-an-hour fastball. It had a little cutting action on it. 1-2. The youngest player on the Korean roster. That's down the right field line. That's going to be a base hit. Up against the wall. In after it, Byung Lee. Matsunaka digging for second, and he's got a double.
Well, he made a mistake. He got the fastball inside. And a good job of hitting by Matsunaka. Well, it's got 2 strikes. And you can see it. Well, they want to go inside. They want it down, and he gets it up. But it's still inside. It's not as bad a pitch as it looked. Maybe the location he called for was the wrong location. But a good job of hitting there by Matsunaka.
And we're going to get the pitching change now with a couple of right-handed hitters, Tamura and Imai, coming up. Byung-Hyun Kim coming in, no score. Team Korea, they've been the team of the tournament so far, but they won't get any extra points for that tonight. If they lose tonight, despite their spotless record up to now, they'll be eliminated. There's Byung-Hyun Kim. Many years in the major leagues, currently with the Colorado Rockies. Got a runner at second and nobody out. Tamura showing bunt. And the first baseman charging hard, Sung-Yap Lee. The third baseman, Sung-Hoon Jung, is trying to lay back for a possible play on the runner. Matsunaka. We saw Matsunaka run, Joe. It had to be a pretty good bucket. He didn't look that fast. And that's a foul. Kim, you know, he's, unfortunately for Kim, because it was such a big stage, he's probably best remembered for those home runs he gave up at Yankee Stadium in consecutive nights in the 2001 World Series. Tino Martinez, a 2-run shot in the 9th inning one night to tie the game, and Scott Brosius did the same thing the next night. 2 of the most amazing home runs ever seen in World Series play. But truth be told, Kim had a great string of success as a reliever with the Arizona Diamondbacks.
And remember, they still won the championship.
They won it all. And he was one of the top relievers in the National League there for a few years. He got that submarine style delivery. Throws that pitch that kind of rises, and got that kind of rising slider too. And he caused a lot of trouble for a lot of hitters in the major leagues. Then he went to the Red Sox for a while and fell in disfavor with Colorado last year as both a starter and a reliever. The funny thing was he had great success as a reliever there for a time, but he always wanted to start because he was a starter in Korea. Did he bunt? Yeah, the first base umpire, Guccione, on appeal says, yeah, you bunted at it.
But not only is he tough to hit, he's tough to bunt as well. And you can see Tamura is still looking down to see if they want him to bunt. But he definitely chased this pitch. But it's moving away from him. And you can see you got to pull the bat back before the ball passes your bat.
Got to pull it back before you actually bunt at it.
Well, it looks like he's going to bunt with 2 strikes.
2-2 the count. Now he brings the bat back and swings at a real bad one.
Well, a smart pitch there by BK Kim, because you know, you look like he might have wanted, he squared around like he was going to bunt, and in that case you throw a fastball, but they were aware that he wasn't going to bunt, so he swings at the breaking ball off the plate.
Sadaharu O comes out with
an interpreter.
The interpreter to talk to the plate umpire, Ed Hickox.
And I guess he's going to, looks like he's making a switch.
Out of the dugout for Team Japan is Kosuke Fukudome. Fukudome had been the regular center fielder until tonight. They put in the speedier, higher average hitter, Aoki. And Fukudome is going to come in as a pinch hitter here for Imai, the right-handed hitting third baseman. So Osan seems to like the matchup against Kim with the left-handed hitter a little bit better.
Well, I think your left-hander definitely has a better shot, but it's not easy for a left-hander to pick the ball up. The reason that Kim is difficult to hit is because you're normally used to picking the ball up out of here. So what happens, you're out of here, but when you drop down, you're looking for it from a different spot, and there's a lot of area between here and there, and all of a sudden you don't find the ball as quickly as you'd like, and before you know it, it's on top of you.
So here is Fukudome with another lefty, Ogasawara on deck. Fukudome is not hit in this tournament. It's a ball inside from Kim. Japan, just like everybody else that Korea has played in this tournament, not hitting in the clutch with runners in scoring position. 0 for 6 tonight. The whole field in the tournament is 5 for 49 in these at-bats against Korea. Over the outside corner for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. Fukudome with the Chunichi Dragons last year hit .328 with 28 homers.
And you can see the movement that Kim has on his fastball. I mean, it really tails away. Nice frame job there by the catcher.
That ball is hammered way back into right field. That ball is gone. A 2-run homer for the pinch hitter, Fukudome. After slumping all through the tournament, he launches one in the 7th inning. And Team Japan, having already risen from the ashes to stay alive in this tournament, has now taken a 2-0 lead over their arch rivals from Korea.
How about that managing job by Sadaharu O? He's not just another great hitter. Smart move there. Even after he had benched Fukudome, and he brings him in a clutch situation, and he delivers for him.
Fukudome had 103 RBIs last year, so you know, he's an RBI man, and Osan must have figured, Joe, hey, this guy's a proven RBI man, proven in the clutch. Let's see what he can do here.
And once again, Kim finds himself in a bad position, and he has pitched well in this classic.
Yeah, he may have. Oh, right after the homer, he drills Ogasawara, and Ogasawara unhappy with him. Kim comes walking in toward home plate as Ogasawara gave him some harsh looks, but now he heads over to first base, and he's limping up the line.
Well, the umpire warns both dugouts as well. And you see a fastball right in the middle of the plate. We showed you the one before that was moving away. This one does not move. It's kind of a straight fastball, and it doesn't move, it doesn't sink, it just stays there. and Fukudome hits it out of the ballpark. He says this park is not too big for him. I mean, as soon as he hit that one, you knew it was gone. There you see Sadahara up leading the cheers. He said, that's just the way I used to hit him.
Yeah. I mean, and just as you said, as soon as he hit it, you knew it was gone. Osan, as soon as he hit it, was up out of the dugout. There's a bunt foul by Satozaki. The catcher, he's 0 for 2. Well, Kim, he may have had some flashbacks there as Fukudome was rounding the bases. He may have interspersed some bad memories of Tino Martinez rounding the bases, another left-handed slugger who hit that big one in the 9th inning in Game 4 in the World Series in 2001 against Kim at Yankee Stadium. Showing bunt there was Satozaki, but the throw went to first base. But I mean, Kim made a bad mistake. He just grooved that pitch.
Well, the ball didn't move, John. The other pitches he was throwing were sinking and moving away from the left-hander, but that one did not move at all. Pretty much straight fastball.
In the dirt and away from the catcher and over to second base goes Guts Ogasawara. 2-0. Japan leading Korea in the 7th inning. Only the second time in this entire tournament that Team Korea has trailed in a game. The other time, of course, was against Japan in Tokyo in the 3rd game of the tournament back on March the 5th. They were down 2-1 all the way up into the 8th inning when they came from behind and won it anyway. Satozaki now with a runner at second base. We'll try and drive him in. Right in there with a fastball. 1-2 the count now. In Japan, it's nearly 2 o'clock Sunday afternoon. And in Korea, the same thing. That ball is hit deep into left center field. That ball is really crushed. It is way back there and up against and over the wall. An automatic double. But because he had gone to second on the wild pitch, Ogasawara scores on the double by Satozaki. Looked like he got a hanging slider, and he knew just what to do with it. And bad memories for Byung Yoo Kim revisited here. And they have hit him hard in this inning.
Well, again, he hangs a breaking ball. The other one was a straight fastball that didn't move. But look at this one. It doesn't break very much. It just kind of slides a little bit. And a nice bat flip there. But he doesn't get it out of the ballpark.
So In-Shik Kim is going to make the pitching change. And perhaps the best revenge, the man who got hit by the pitch after the homer, he has just scored the 3rd run. We'll be back. I'm John Miller with Joe Morgan, along with Peter Gammons and Jose Mota. We are at Petco Park in San Diego. And now, Team Japan not only has the lead, they've got a 3-run lead. All of the runs scoring here in the 7th inning, and all scoring after Byung Yoo Kim came into the game. Be sure to watch your team's out-of-market games live during the Major League Baseball season from anywhere in the world. That's right, live Major League Baseball right on your desktop or your laptop. Go to ESPN.com and search for MLB.TV. Sign up today. Don't miss a pitch all season long. And they've got the park in the park out there beyond center field here at Petco Park. As Jun Kyun Bong, formerly with the Atlanta Braves, comes in from the Korean bullpen. He was with the Cincinnati Reds last year, but spent the season on the disabled list. So, you know, Joe, going back to that booming home run hit by Fukudome that put Japan ahead, that very next pitch, Byung Yoo Kim drilled Ogasawara. I mean, that has really turned into something that has really hurt them. That's a strike on the outside.
Well, because of his delivery, you almost have to be trying to hit a left-handed hitter to hit him, because his ball automatically tails away from the left-handed hitter, and he had to throw it so far inside or throw a straight one that wouldn't move, and he hit him.
So sort of in a fit of pique. Deflected by Bong over to the second baseman, Kim. And he throws out Kawasaki. Give the pitcher an assist on that play, but Satozaki moves over to third base for Japan. That ball might have scooted through the middle had Bong not been able to get a glove on it. And there is Satozaki at third base now after the ground out by Kawasaki. And now Sadaharu O comes out again. Aoki due up, but maybe another pinch hitter. We'll see. But Joe, we're talking about that hit by pitch after the home run. Let's take a look at what you're talking about here.
Well, watch it. Let's take a look at Guts. He's off the plate. See, he's way off the plate. Look how far this ball is off the plate. I mean, this ball is like 3 feet off the plate. I mean, it's way inside. Look at that. It's almost behind him, and he steps into it. And then he ends up with a runner at first. And then Satozaki hits a double. Kind of flips his bat, but he knows it's a base hit. And they score another run. So now they have a 3-run lead. And we have another pitching change.
But the point being, you know, getting some revenge or taking it out of his own frustration on the next hitter. And he may have helped Japan get an even bigger inning as a result of it. We've got a pinch hitter, Miyamoto, and a new pitcher coming in for Korea, Min Han Son. The World Baseball Classic from San Diego. And the aerial coverage, courtesy of the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company and its fleet of airships, reminding you to travel with peace of mind on Goodyear Forterra tires featuring silent armor technology. I'm John Miller with Joe Morgan, along with Peter Gammons and Jose Mota down by the two dugouts. And Korea, they've done everything well. They have surprised the baseball world, but suddenly, after all of this, could the magic have run out? They are down 3-0. There's a runner at third, 2 down, and there is Min Han Son of the Lotte Giants in the Korean League. He was 18-7 last year as a starting pitcher, primarily. He comes on as the 4th pitcher of this inning, and he's facing the pinch hitter Miyamoto. That's a ball too high. Son has been in 2 games, both as a starter, and is 2-0 in the tournament, a 1.29 ERA. Shinya Miyamoto, the pinch hitter, batting for Aoki. That is into left field, a base hit. Satozaki is in to score. Now it is a 4-run inning. 3 of the runs charged to the record of Byung Hyun Kim.
Well, this is what Japan has been waiting for, you know, an explosion, because they have not been able to beat Korea. They lost 3-2 and 2-1. Comes kind of off-speed pitch. It wasn't a fastball. And Miyamoto just drives it through the left side for a base hit and an RBI. And you can see the excitement in Japan's dugout.
And another move by Osan that has worked out beautifully. He's used 2 pinch hitters in the inning, and they have both driven home runs. A 2-run homer by Fukudome, who pinch hit for Imai with a score 0-0, and Fukudome hit a 2-run homer against Kim. Now Miyamoto, pinch hitting for Aoki, knocks in a run here, and here is Nishioka, the switch hitting second baseman, who was 0 for 3 tonight. Miyamoto, the runner at first, he took a false start from first base and then stopped. Ball way outside. In the first 60 innings of this tournament, Korean pitching allowed only 8 runs, but now 4 runs home against their staff in the 1 inning. The 7th inning here of their 7th game. It's been the unlucky 7 so far.
Well, it's John, as I said earlier, percentages in baseball do work out sometimes, and Korea was definitely up against the percentages. Not only trying to beat Japan for 3 straight times, but also trying to go undefeated. I mean, that's very difficult to do in this format, but they have definitely proved that they belong with the big boys.
Ichiro on deck. 2-1 now to Nishioka. Now we talked about the problems for Team Japan in those at-bats with runners in scoring position, and everybody in the tournament that's faced Korea. But now 3 of the last 4 hitters who have come up in this inning with runners in scoring position have all gotten hits for Japan. Another percentage maybe that was due to turn around.
Do turn around.
That's a bloop. That's falling. It is in there. Base hit. Coming around second, Miyamoto to third base. Byung Yoo Lee, the right fielder, gets it back in, and they keep it going. Now Ichiro comes up with a chance to do some more damage here. The Koreans are not able to stop the bleeding here. Japan has finally busted loose. And Ichiro with a chance to get his 3rd hit of the game. If he does, he'll knock in at least 1. The Japan bullpen, by the way, is very busy as Ichiro gets ready to bat, hitting .333 in the tournament. The catcher, In Shung Cho, is at the mound, and the plate umpire Ed Hickox goes out to move them along. Sun, the 4th pitcher of the inning, Jun, who came out in the 6th, started the inning, gave up a double to Matsunaka, who is on deck now. Then after the double, Byung Hyun Kim came on, and he gave up a 2-run homer to Fukudome, and then drilled the next hitter, Ogasawara, after which Satozaki hit a double to knock in Ogasawara. Kim came into a 0-0 game. When he left, it was 3-0, and now another run is scored. It's 4-0. 3 of those 4 runs charged to Kim's record. Ichiro, who has had 2 singles and 2 steals in this game, now trying to be the RBI man. He was part of the lineup machinations of Sadaharu Oh. Instead of hitting leadoff, where he'd hit all through the tournament, he was moved to the 3rd spot tonight. Slaps it into left field. That's going to be his 3rd hit of the game. Coming in to score, Miyamoto. Nishioka stops at second. Ichiro knocks in the run. It's a 5-run inning. They have batted around, and the man who started it all, Matsunaka, is coming up again.
Well, you have to think about it. What about all the moves that Sadaharu has made tonight have really worked for Japan? I mean, he moved Ichiro down to 3rd so he would get a chance to hit in just a clutch situation like this. And what does he do? He drives in a run. And when he wasn't hitting with runners on, he was starting the inning off by getting on. So he has made very good use of Ichiro tonight, as well as the other pinch hitters that he has used.
So now Matsunaka. He ripped a double into the right field corner, leading off the inning against the left-hander Jun. And he's batting again in the same inning. And that's a foul that will land back into the crowd behind the Japan dugout. Well, Osan, sometimes in Japanese baseball, Joe, you'll find out a manager made a move. They'll say, why did you do this? Why did you do that? And they'll say they just had a moment of inspiration.
Well,
wah. You got to have wah. And Osan has had some inspiration going for him tonight. Inspired in for sure. There's a slow bouncer. Kim, the second baseman, throws out Matsunaka. 5 runs, 6 hits. It started with that 2-run homer by Fukudome, a pinch hitter put in there by Osan. A big job ahead for Korea. They are down 5-0. In San Diego, I'm John Miller, along with Joe Morgan, Peter Gammons, Jose Mota, also here with us. Here's Petco Park, the big crowd looking on a wet night in San Diego. Here's the pitching summary brought to you by Taco Bell. Koji Uehara, 72 pitches thrown, and look at that, 16 out of the strike zone and 56 strikes. 6 innings, no runs, 2 hits, and no walks. Not tonight and not at any time in this tournament. Uehara, 16 innings pitched without a walk.
And the point is he can throw 95 pitches, so I'm sure that's what Sadaharu wants to get out of him. If he can get him through this inning, he may decide to take him out anyway, but we'll see what happens.
Well, he had an 11-pitch 5th inning and a 9-pitch 6th inning. What? The center fielder, by the way, is Kosuke Fukudome, the man who pinch hit for Imai and hit the 2-run homer to put Korea ahead. So Fukudome out in the center field, and over at third base is Miyamoto, the man who pinch hit for Aoki and knocked in a run with a single. And there's a splitter in the dirt to Sung-Yap Lee, the slugger for Korea. Kosuke Fukudome, the man who had been slumping in this tournament. And Osan had that moment's inspiration and put him in there against Byung Hyun Kim. And that is when Fukudome found himself. He hit 28 home runs for the Chunichi Dragons last year. Oh, man, that pitch just disappeared, but a foul tip to keep Sung-Yap Lee alive. He has struck out and lined out to right in this game. 5 runs and 9 hits for Korea. All of the runs and 6 of the hits coming in the first half of this 7th inning. That splitter grounded foul up the first base. When you look back, I mean, the fact that Korea has beaten Japan twice already. Korea is 6-0. Japan is 3-3 in the tournament. But they don't get any extra points for that.
They just had an easier road here to the semifinals, so to speak, because they didn't have to worry. In fact, I'm sure Japan, they had their bags packed. They may have been on their way home if not for Mexico beating the United States.
And they thought they were.
Yeah.
They thought Team USA would beat Mexico. But they have risen from the ashes. 1-2 the count. It is raining in San Diego. That is strike 3 called on the outside. And I think Sung-Yap Lee thought maybe off the outside. 1 away. There you see the rain falling here in San Diego. It was raining a little bit before the game and raining right now here in the 7th. Maybe all too symbolic for the Korean squad that has been so sensational in this tournament. The team that has been such a revelation, as Hee-Seop Choi fouls one. The count is 0-1. Hee-Seop Choi is the 22nd batter faced by Uehara tonight. And he has thrown a first pitch strike now to 19 of those 22 hitters. He's been ahead of almost everybody all night long. The splitter, Choi, pretty good eye. And he's noted for that in the major leagues. This guy it's tough to make him swing at a bad ball. 1-1 the count. Oh, he took a good one right there. Fastball to the inside. Strike 2.
Well, let's take a look on K-zone right there on the inner half. Right off the inside corner.
Oh, and the splitter, strike 3, tagged out by the catcher Satozaki, who grabbed it out of the dirt. Peter Gammons down by the Korean dugout. Peter, what have you got?
Well, John, some of the Korean players yesterday were reminding me of just how bitter this rivalry can be and how much the dislike historically has been between the two countries. The Red Sox a few years ago had Sonny Kim, who's on this team, who's Korean, and also Tomohoko, who's Japanese. They roomed them in Double-A. Well, one broken up room. That was the end of that rivalry. But the next year, they had to come back to a hotel one day where the two were in a brawl. They decided they would not make them teammates ever again.
So, well, some wisdom right there.
Yeah.
Base hit for Jin-Young Lee, who is now 1 for 3 in the game. That is only the 3rd hit of the night for Korea against Japan. So Lee is aboard, and here is Sung-Hoon Jung, who had come on in the 5th inning as a defensive replacement. Sung-Hoon Jung, a right-handed hitter, and he takes a called strike.
That was the 84th pitch for Uehara.
So he may be pitching his final inning. That's a strike call to the outside. He's gone to a 3-ball count only twice in this game. He has not walked anybody in the game or in the tournament in 16 2/3 innings now. The Japan staff has only walked 10 in the whole tournament.
Man.
Strike 3 call.
I think he knew he was nearing his pitch limit.
his 8th strikeout. He strikes out the side. On to the 8th inning. 5-0 Japan. It's the World Baseball Classic, and Japan is leading 5-0 as we go to the 8th inning in the rain now in San Diego. The second game of the day, Cuba with a big upset over the Dominican Republic. And their 2 best pitchers combined to shut down the Dominicans today. The Dominican Republic had only 1 run in that ball game on 8 hits, all singles against Yadiel Marti and Pedro Lasso to pitch the Cubans into the final. Now Team Japan with one of their aces tonight, Uehara, who has shut out Team Korea for 7 innings. Now a new pitcher on for Korea, Young-soo Bae. He is the 6th pitcher of the game for the Koreans, facing Tamura, the right-handed hitter with power, fouling it back and out of play. Tamura has gone 0 for 3. He's grounded out, fly deep to left, and struck out. And a lot of the fans here have headed for cover. I mean, it's pretty good rainfall coming down right now. Not a real heavy rain, but a steady rain falling. That ball is driven deep into left center field. That's the big part of this yard, but it's still going. It's gone. Sayonara. 6-0 Japan. A hanging breaking ball, and Tamura, who hit 36 big flies last year in Japan, launches one in the World Baseball Classic.
Well, John, one thing that has happened with the rain, the wind has died down. There's not any wind. It was blowing in from left center at the beginning of this ball game. So when Tamura hit this ball, it was not knocked down at all.
His 3rd home run of the tournament, and a foul out of play by Fukudome, who had the other home run, a pinch hit home run in the 7th inning.
Well, Tamura hits this ball to the deepest part, actually, of the ballpark now, because it's 402 in that gap where he hit it.
I mean,
shorter than center field.
That's often where home runs go to die in this yard, along with right center field, which is also 402. They actually moved. Right center field has been moved in 9 feet this year.
But you can see the flags, John. They're limp now. They're just lying there, but they were blowing in earlier in the ball game.
In the rain, and that is caught in left field by Byung Yoo Lee, and what is now starting to look like a little more treacherous footing out there.
Well, it's not a awful pitch. It looks like it's maybe a splitter or something. It's away. It was up a little bit, meaning belt high, but it was not a bad pitch. It just wasn't in the location that he wanted. And I think they're going to call it for a while, John.
And the umpires have decided to stop play. It's getting a little too treacherous out there. So Japan has a 6-0 lead here in the 8th inning. And are they going to put the tarp out? Are they going to work on the ground screw is going to bring the water absorbent sand-like material out and try and dry off the infield a little bit, but it looks like the umpires might be saying, no, we want you to bring the tarp out, which, you know, this doesn't happen much out here, not in San Diego. Fans of Team Korea have been chanting the Korean equivalent of USA, which is roughly Dae Min Han. There's a pop-up. Foul ground, third base side, and Jung makes the catch. Ogasawara is at number 2. 2 down in the 8th. 6-0. There are the fans with the drums and the noisemakers, the thunder sticks, and it was very entertaining, really.
Well, it's definitely entertaining. They're trying to entertain themselves and keep their team going. I mean, they know that Korea still has 6 outs in this ball game, and they just want them to know that they're still behind them.
Satozaki, and that's ball 1 on a fastball. 2 down, nobody on. Satozaki drove in the 3rd run in that 5-run 7th-inning rally for Team Japan with a double. Slider for a called strike. A ball and a strike. 6 runs, 10 hits for Team Japan. No runs, 3 hits for Korea. Japan got 5 runs in the 7th inning, breaking a 0-0 tie. That is high for a ball. Jae-so started the ball game for Korea, went 5 shutout innings, but then Jun came on and worked a perfect 6, but gave up a double to Matsunaka to start the 7th. Byung Kim came into the game then. Slider a little bit high. And now it is 3-1. And Kim, after striking out the first man he faced, gave up a 2-run homer to Fukudome, the pinch hitter, inserted by Osan, the Japan manager. One of 2 moves he made in that inning that paid off. And a sharply hit base hit to center field for Satozaki, the catcher, his 2nd hit of the game. Satozaki is now hitting .450 in this tournament.
I think he thought he was going to have to hit to drive in some runs before this is over. Now he's relaxing a little bit.
Osan, whose team really humiliated, losing 2 games to Korea. It was bad enough losing the game in Tokyo. But, you know, when they lost that game, although it's the rivalry, both teams already knew they were advancing. It was a game that had no meaning in terms of the tournament itself. But when they lost the other night in Anaheim, Wednesday night, it looked like they were finished in the tournament. Only Mexico's ability to beat Team USA Thursday night enabled Japan to rise up and stay alive moving into the semifinals. Now they are 6 outs away from turning completely around and instead dispatching Korea. 1 strike to count to Kawasaki, 1 for 3 in the game. But the fans of this Korean national team, they have visions of even greater things to come for Team Korea. And if they can come back in this one, that will be a story to tell for years and years and years to come. It is 6-0 Japan. On the outside corner, got him looking. Japan needs to get 6 outs more to move into the final against Cuba. Until the last of the 8th inning we go, 6-0 Japan. The cheering continues for Team Korea, but they are running out of outs in this game and in this tournament. 6-0 Japan. Last of the 8th, back in the 7th in a 0-0 game. Fukudome up as a pinch hitter. He hit a 2-run homer against Byung Yoo Lee, the first runs of the game. Then the next hitter, Ogasawara, as Sadaharu Omu made the move, celebrated. Ogasawara got drilled. That brought up Satozaki. And after a pass ball, Satozaki doubled home the 3rd run. Another pinch hitter inserted by Osan. Miyamoto singled home a run. And finally, Ichiro knocked in the 5th run of the inning. In the 8th inning, Tamura came up in the rain, and he blasted a booming home run to the deepest part of the yard over that 402 marker in deep left center. And things are definitely going the way of Team Japan. And Osan now brings in a relief pitcher, Yasuhiko Yabuta, in relief of Uehara. And whether we had the rain or not, Joe, probably Uehara was finished for the night as he was drawing close to that 95 pitch limit. He was at 86 pitches. But what a performance by Uehara in the clutch. 7 shutout innings, 8 strikeouts.
Well, no doubt about it. I mean, he had everything was on the line. And as you said, they definitely did not want to lose 3 straight ball games to Korea. And he pitched magnificently, as did Jae-un-so. They both pitched great. Just one of those things that when you go to the bullpen in these types of ball games, you never know what you're going to get. And that's the same thing that actually happened to the Dominican team today after Bartolo Colon pitched so well to shut down the Cuban team.
So here is Yabuta, who also played for Bobby Valentine's champion team, the Chiba Lotte Marines. And first ball swinging, the pinch hitter, Young type Park, and he is retired. 1 away, just like that. 1 pitch, 1 out. The World Baseball Classic. For the first time, the game's greatest players playing for pride and the championship. For a complete tournament recap, log on to worldbaseballclassic.com. And in the earlier games, Joe, I was on the internet watching the MLB.TV that I got through ESPN.com and following very intently what was going on at the WorldBaseball.com and catching the telecasts and whatnot. So the games that were being played in Japan in the first round and all over the world. It was it's kind of tuned into what was going on, as there were multiple games going on at the same time in different venues there for a while.
Well, it was exciting watching on TV, but nothing replaces this live atmosphere here. I mean, this is fantastic. And it has been all day.
These are great fans. Another pinch hitter here, inserted by In-Shik Kim, the Korean manager. This is Sung Hyun Hong, and the count is 0-1, or rather 0-2 now to Hong. 6-0. Team Japan leading. Last of the 8th. They need 5 outs more to go to the final. That is off. Is it off the handle or off the wrist? And plate umpire Ed Hickok said, no, that's off the wrist or the hand. So he hit by the pitch. I mean, he really did not do a very good job of getting out of the way of that one. He really did not move at all.
And I think Hickok had to wait to decide whether it did hit the bat or hit him on the hand. And it definitely hits him on the hand, right at the base of his hand and wrist.
Well, he's going to leave the game, and a pinch runner goes in. Jae-Gul Kim is the pinch runner at first base for Hong. Min Jae Kim, now the second baseman, hitting 9th in the order, has flied out to right and grounded out to short. 6-0. Japan leading, 1 on, 1 out. And that's too low from Yabuta. Yabuta for the Marines last year, the Chiba Lotte Marines. 7 wins, 4 losses, and a 3.07 ERA in 51 games. Setup man out of the bullpen for Bobby Valentine. 2-0 the count. There is In-Shik Kim, the manager from Korea. And the fastball right by him. Fastball count, gave him a fastball, couldn't hit it.
Well, with a 6-0 lead, you're going to make them earn everything they get. You're not going to walk anybody. Fastball right in the middle of the plate.
Wow.
I mean, right in the middle. Dead red right down the middle. And he threw it right by him. Another good fastball in the inside corner this time.
Kim had 277 last year with 2 homers, 37 batted in the Korean League. He's a veteran, 33 years old. 2-2 the count now. Slider in the dirt. He's gone. 2 down. 9th strikeout for Team Japan pitching in this one. And the leadoff man, Byung Yoo Lee, will come up now. He is 0 for 3 in the game. Team Korea has only 3 hits in the game. The championship of the World Baseball Classic will be Monday night right here on ESPN in San Diego. 6 o'clock Pacific time, 9 o'clock Eastern time, 10 p.m. Atlantic time down in San Juan. There were really some exciting games down there in San Juan. I wish we could have done some of those ball games. Seemed like Gary Thorne got all the great ones down there. That's up the middle, base hit. Byung Yoo Lee with his first hit of the game. Kim stops at second. And now Jung Bong Lee will come up.
Well, the one thing you realize is that they're not going to go away easily. And Lee just takes this one right back through the middle. Again, it's a fastball pretty much in the middle of the plate. Yabuta tries to kick it, which I don't know if that would have been very smart. But he just reacted to the ball and tried to stop it with his foot. I mean, this ball is hit very sharply. You can get hurt trying to stop that one.
And the Team Japan bullpen is busy. 2 men on, and this is the first time tonight that Korea has had 2 base runners in the same inning. They have been shut down thoroughly. That's a bloop, but to the shortstop, and the inning is over. Kawasaki backed up to get it, and 2 men are stranded. 3 outs away from the championship is Team Japan, leading 6-0. Back here in San Diego, I'm John Miller with Joe Morgan. Also with Peter Gammons and Jose Mota. The World Baseball Classic. And Japan now needs only 3 outs more. They hold a 6-0 lead to set up the final, Cuba versus Japan. And Korea with a new pitcher, Sung Hwan Oh. He's been the closer. Look at those numbers. 1.18 ERA last year, 115 strikeouts in 99 innings. They pretty much used him as the closer, and he's the guy from the Samsung Lions who got the 2 strikeouts with the possible tying run on base in Wednesday's 2-1 victory. Kam Young-jin is the new catcher. The shortstop Min Jae Kim moves over from second base to play shortstop, and the new second baseman is Kim. There's Jae-gul Kim now at second base for Team Korea.
And I think the only team that would have been a surprise, to make it to the final would be Korea. I mean, if you look around, people would think that Japan had a good chance. And if you look at the Caribbean side, you would think Puerto Rico, Venezuela, Dominican, Cuba, any of those teams could make it. But I think from this side, most people thought it would be Japan, United States would be the 2 that would, have a chance to get to the final. But so it's things have really kind of gone true to form in that direction, except for this dream team of the Koreans playing very well.
On away, Miyamoto thrown out by Jung, the third baseman. And Miyamoto, who got that pinch hit single to knock in run number 4 in the 7th inning, grounds out this time. So Cuba beat the Dominican today 3-1. Back of the 2-headed pitching monster, their 2 best pitchers both pitched today. It was as if Randy Johnson and Curt Schilling both pitched in the same game, which they both did in Game 7 of the World Series in 2001. Randy Johnson ended up being the closer in that one, and that's a ball outside to Nishioka. But in this case, Marti went the first 4 1/3, and Lasso went the last 4 2/3. Only 1 run for the mighty Dominican lineup against those 2 today. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ichiro is on deck. In the game Monday night, we haven't heard any official word as to who Cuba will pitch, but it could be or Mario Romero or Vicio Andre Odelin. Either one of them could get the start, and whichever one starts, the other one certainly may also appear in that game. And of course, it's the final, so just about everybody on that staff, other than the 2 guys who worked today, could end up in that game if needed. And Nishioka is out number 2. Well, in Game 2 of this series between these clubs Wednesday night, and this was the big throw. Jin-Young Lee from right field threw out Iwamura in the 8th inning, and then the base hit by Byung Lee driving the 2 runs, and then got the strikeout to wrap it up. Ichiro not happy, and then Jae-So planted the Korean flag on the mound at Angel Stadium with the Japanese looking on. But it could be that Team Japan will respond by driving a stake through the hearts of Team Korea here tonight.
As we said all along, John, it's very difficult to beat a team 3 games in a row in this type of format.
Ichiro, who's had 3 hits tonight, this time fouls out. The inning is over. 3 for 5 for Ichiro as the 3rd place hitter. Last chance for Korea. 3 outs of life left to them. We'll be back. 6-0, Japan leading Korea last of the 9th. And there is a little bad feeling about Ichiro and those statements he made before this tournament started. about them beating Korea, and Korea won't be up with them in 30 years. But after he caught this pop-up off the bat of Ichiro to end the inning, and Ichiro was heading back to the dugout with his head down, look what the third baseman Jung did with that ball.
Well, you know, that kind of reminds me of when I see the football games where a guy makes a tackle, a good hit, he jumps up celebrating, and the guy he hit says, look at the scoreboard. You know, I'd rather be in my position than yours, and I'm sure that's what Ichiro was thinking. He didn't react, though, as you could see.
Last chance for Team Korea. Akinori Otsuka has had a couple of years here in San Diego, the Padres. Now on in relief, facing Sung-Yap Lee, who's had such a great tournament. Of all the sluggers, and there were a lot of them in this tournament, Sung-Yap Lee has hit more home runs than any of them in this first World Baseball Classic. He has proved himself to be a classic. It's a foul off to the left. He had 30 home runs for Bobby Valentine's Chiba Lotte Marines last year, who won the Japan series, won it all there. And this year he'll play for the Yomiuri Tokyo Giants. And will he one day play here? Will he one day play in Major League Baseball? He had a chance to go with the Dodgers a couple of years ago, the story was, but he was offered more money to play in Japan, so he took the cash. 0-2 the count. 1-2 now. Sung-Yap Lee tonight has struck out twice and lined out to right field once. Uehara was able to shut him down. Hisap Choi on deck. 6-0. Team Japan leading. Found that one down off his foot.
John, another interesting sidelight to this game tonight is that if Korea does not score 6 runs or more here, they would be the only team to go through the entire series without making an error. They haven't made an error in the Classic.
7 games, no errors. Which, I mean, A-Rod thought that was just beyond belief. One away. Otsuka with the high fastball strikes out Sung-Yap Lee. A-Rod said, you know, that many games, and you're telling me not one guy bobbled a ball? Unbelievable.
Well, that's the high fastball from Otsuka. And right by Lee.
One down, Hisap Choi. He's 0 for 3. Otsuka will be back in the big leagues this year, but not with San Diego. He went to Texas. And he kind of faded the last several weeks of last season after just being a great setup reliever. He was mostly the 8th inning man in front of Trevor Hoffman here in San Diego. He had a fabulous year, his first year in the majors with the Padres. And that's a foul off to the left. And the one thing that the Padres did very well last year, I mean, they won the division in a weak division. They didn't have a real great record. But if they led you after 6 innings, they'd had Otsuka, Linebrink, and Hoffman for the last 3. And that was awfully tough to beat. And the slider is too low. 2-2 to Hisap Choi. He's grounded out, flied out deep to center, and struck out. Team Korea, well, if they are indeed about to be dispatched, they have only 2 outs of life left. We certainly have to thank him for the indelible memories that they've given us, such as Sung-Yap Lee hitting those home runs, the play at the plate, the great catch in that game in Tokyo, the 3rd game of that pool when they won the game. And that's the first walk allowed by Team Japan tonight. Only the 11th walk they have allowed this entire tournament in 7 games.
Well, if nothing else, Korea has proven, you know, that they can play great defense. You see, they didn't commit an error the entire Classic, but they've also proven that they can play, you know, with not only Japan but all the other teams that were in this Classic.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm sure that if they're eliminated tonight, they're looking forward to the next Classic.
Yeah.
Because they feel like they will improve even more so by that time.
On the rise, Now a pinch runner is going to go over to first base. Ji Man Sung is going to pinch run for Hee-Sop Choi here in the 9th inning. Cuba will be the home team on Monday night if Japan wins this ball game, and Japan is leading 6-0 by virtue of having a better record during the tournament than Japan. 1 ball and no strikes to count to Jin Young Lee. 1-1 the countdown. Monday night's ball game at 6 o'clock here in San Diego, 6 o'clock Pacific time, 9 o'clock Eastern time on ESPN. That's a strike call to the outside, and it is 1-2. But you know, Joe, it's interesting. If it is in fact going to be Cuba versus Japan in the final, I mean, look at all the great stars we saw for the major leagues with the Dominican Republic today, on Team USA earlier in the week, Venezuela. If it's Cuba versus Japan Monday night, 1 big league player in that game, in the championship game, Ichiro. Team Japan, they probably had their bags packed and ready to go maybe as of Thursday after their loss to Korea. But Team Mexico did them a huge favor and defeated Team USA. Strike 3 called on the outside. 2 down. And although we've had the very large and vocal group of fans from rooting for Team Korea here, there are a lot of fans rooting for Team Japan as well. And the former San Diego Padre trying to finish off Team Korea right here in San Diego. Otsuka with a strike call to Jung. Sung Hoon Jung. And it is now 0-2. In fact, Otsuka, still in the big leagues, would join Ichiro as a big league player in that final on Monday. 0-2 the count. 6-0. Japan leading Korea. And that's back out of play, off to the right. Koji Uehara, the starting pitcher, 7 shutout innings tonight. In the dirt with a slider. 1-2, moving up on the ball is Ji-Man Song over to second base.
But you have to give Jae-Young Seo as much credit also. He pitched a great ball game for Korea.
And so 5 shutout innings in this game, and in the tournament in his 3 starts, 14 innings, 1 run allowed.
So he pitched great.
1-2. 2 down. Just got a piece of it. Korea stays alive with 2 down and 2 strikes here in the 9th. And it will be Japan and Cuba. Otsuka strikes out the side of the 9th inning, and Japan has beaten Korea at long last. The only loss for Korea in the tournament. They still have the best record of any team in this World Baseball Classic, but they will not be in the final. No victory lap tonight. Japan has defeated Korea. And now the Korean team comes out of the dugout as we watch Japan celebrate. But the Koreans came out of the dugout, and they paid homage to their great fans in the stands down there. And they all took a bow and doffed their caps to their very vocal fans. So congratulations to Korea for such a great showing in the World Baseball Classic. But it is Sadaharu Oh's Team Japan that goes to the final against Cuba Monday night at 6 Pacific, 9 Eastern time. The final score once again, Japan 6, South Korea nothing. Up next is the College Game Day scoreboard. Now this is John Miller for Joe Morgan and our colleagues Peter Gammons and Jose Mota. Thanks for tuning in. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. 6-0, Japan over Korea at Petco Park tonight. And the World Baseball Classic, 1 game to go after 38 played. We'll see you here Monday night at 6 Pacific time. Now, from San Diego, good night.